Hello and welcome back to the Critically Clueless. I'm a Monk, and today we are in Mountain Blade Bannerlords 2, or Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlords. In today's video, we're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about the different ways to get money, what I would consider the easiest way to get money, what I would consider the funnest way to get money, and of course, what is the best way to get money. Now, with this game, it is fair to point out that this is a massive game, and therefore, in order to get money, significant money, a significant amount of money, regardless of the method that you choose or where you are in the game, it's going to take time. It's going to take investment in your time, and it's not going to be quick. There are no shortcuts. This video isn't about showing you any glitches or anything like that. It's just the methods that I've used. I've done many playthroughs now on console. This is a console video. I've spent probably over 100 hours now in this game since release on console, and partly I'll talk about why this video actually took me so long to actually get around, but it's because I've been trying to make sure that I have these answers for you and I can accurately tell you what I would consider the best ways to get money. One of those first things that I'd like to talk about is trade. Trade is a fabulous way to earn money within the game. In fact, it has its own perk tree in the perk store where you can kind of like get perks to make trade even more profitable for you, eventually even being able to buy your own castle. Now, of course, that does take time, and it takes a lot of focus points. It takes 5 focus points, 8 endurance points. I'm on smithing. I should have been on trade. My bad. But it does take, those 5 focal points and those 5 attribute points into social in order to be able to buy a property. So I'd like to point that out as well. But anyway, this isn't a trade guide. I have a video out on a trade guide. If you want a more in-depth, then I would go seek that out, where I choose and tell you which perks are preferable to pick over others. But trade is seriously a great way to earn money. Even from the very beginning, I've done a tips video and I mentioned about selling hogs and cutting them up and selling the meat and the hide separately when you very first start the game. Trade is fabulous. It has lots of different things like that. For instance, buying the livestock and selling the things on. You could also buy the horses, take a rare horse that would maybe be found in the Azari desert region and then take that all the way up to Sturgia, and you're probably going to make a decent amount of money off that too. Or of course buy grain cheaply and then go ahead and sell that grain onto a town, or a town that's recently been sieged. Sieges take time. I don't know if anyone's ever watched the AI siege a castle, but they take an incredible amount of time. Partly, to get rid of their food reserves and start starving them out. That's a really good strategy. But those towns are in need of a lot of food. Therefore, generally, that food can sell. If I buy this right now for 7 dinars, I could go to a siege town and probably sell that for 18 or more. Grain is definitely something you can make a huge amount of profit on. And something I should really add is that trade experience, earning experience for trade, is done off profit. So the more money you earn off a single, or the more profit you earn off a single trade, you will get experience for that. I should also say things like selling on war, things you got during a war, this is not going to give you any kind of trade experience because you just acquired it, you didn't buy it. The same with anything you smith, you're not going to get any trade experience off that either, again, because you have made that item, you are not selling it on for a profit. So keep that in mind, guys, as well. Another thing I'd like to touch on when it comes to trade is trade rumors. Now, trade rumors are really useful. You don't tend to get them at the beginning of the game. In fact, you may be looking at this thinking, well, my numbers aren't green, my numbers aren't red, because again, you should be buying products if they are green and not selling them if they are in red, because that means you are losing profit. However, If you've got no trade experience, no points in it in trade, if you are not part of a kingdom and haven't been visiting towns, then you're not going to have any trade rooms whatsoever. And those green icons, those red icons, aren't going to be there in your game. So at the beginning of your game, you're not going to have them at all. It is going to be something that you're going to have to pay attention to. And unfortunately, I can't give you a, oh, buy this for this price, buy that for that price, because everyone's game is different and the game will fluctuate as well depending on which stage that you are in. The prices are going to be very, very different. So what I would recommend is pay attention to the prices in your store. Typically speaking, if you manage to buy grain for under 8 dinars, you're going to make money. If you manage to buy fish for under 8 dinars, you're going to make money on it. I really like buying grapes, olives, butter, cheese, those kind of things. And if you buy them under 20 dinars, for me, you're going to be able to make money. And again, with beer, under 40 dinars, you're going to make money on it. Something like flax, you could actually end up buying for 4 dinars sometimes and selling that on, as you can see right now, for a decent amount of money. These are things that you're going to have to pay attention to as you play the game. I actually like to have a little ledger sometimes as well, just so I can refer to it sometimes if I'm not 100% sure on a product, or if I'm not sure if I've seen it cheaper, for instance. But they're just a few tips that I would suggest to look at when it comes to trade. Like I said, trade is a great way to earn money. It just takes a little bit of time. Another fantastic way to earn money, especially whether you're at the beginning stages or at the end stages, is war. Now, this playthrough has been my war playthrough. I've done pretty much nothing but earn money through war. I have obviously done other things, but the money that I have in my bank on my person right now is because I have gone to war, I have gone into battles, I have won those battles, and I've gone ahead and sold those items in the shop. Now, the bigger the wars you get into, the more better stuff you get. But even if you're fighting looters, you're going to be getting loot off them, and you're going to be getting a lot of these kind of things, loads of these type of materials. Yes, it sells for very, very cheap, but as you can see, quantity is king in this stage, and war is extremely profitable. You also earn money through war for just winning a battle as well, or sieging a castle. All these kind of things will get you money. On top of prisoners, go ahead and sell them in a town, and you're going to be earning money through prisoners as well. So yeah, war is extremely profitable, and in my opinion, it's actually my funnest way to play the game. It's just straight to be, don't be a trader, don't be a smith, just go to war and earn your fortune through blood. It's been, that's my current playthrough, and it's been a lot of fun. It's also been quicker in order to achieve castles, things like that. Castles, land, thieves, those kind of things are something we should also touch on. As you can see from this screen right here, I currently have 2 castles, and I have a single town, and then I have a load of villages that are attached to those castles and those towns. Now, I'm earning a good amount of money from these places. In fact, I've earned more. This is, right now we're at war, so, trade isn't as good. But in general, I earn a lot of money from my castles and my towns. However, I cannot tell you that that's the best way to earn money, because you have to balance it. You can see at the bottom down there that I have got a garrison in the said castles. I've got a garrison in the town, and that garrison doesn't, it doesn't balance. So if you're wanting to make a profit, you're going to have to balance out the amount of troops that you actually keep in those castles and that town in order to turn a profit there. One of my absolute favorite early ways to make money is tournaments. Tournaments are fabulous. You can get so much good quality gear from a tournament and then sell it on. On top of that, you can earn money through betting and then keep the gear that you happen to have. Early game, tournaments are probably the easiest way to make money in this game, simply because you're doing so without any kind of repercussions. You can lose a tournament and it's really not going to affect you. You can win a tournament and it can be life changing to the game that you're currently in. Most of the gear that I currently have on my person right now happens to be won from a tournament. I didn't mean to enter this town, so let's back up real quick. Most of the gear that I actually have on me is won from a tournament. You can get like tier 5, tier 6 gear even from entering and winning tournaments. And that stuff can go on to sell for 40,000 dinars. Obviously depending on the product itself. Not only that, but some of those horses that you happen to have or happen to be able to win inside a tournament actually happens to be some of the best horses in a game that you're not going to be able to actually go ahead and buy in a shop, at all. As you can see right here, it is a Knight's Fall that is the prize. So tournaments are always a good idea to check to see what is in there. Another thing that many people don't know is that before you actually do pop in and check is to load. Now load the game outside the town, and when you reload the game, if you don't like the product, it will change all the time. So have a look at that. So if you want to kind of tweak the game, that's how you would do that. But as you can see, this is a tier 3 weapon. Not particularly amazing, unfortunately. I've seen a hell of a lot better things in here. Generally speaking, even right now where I am in my game, which is, I guess I'm kind of early to mid game. If you see a horse, always go for it. It's a high tier horse and it's going to sell for a decent amount of money. And if you're not going to sell it, you could always give it to your companion. There's nothing wrong with your companions having extremely good horses as well as yourself. Of course, bear in mind, you do actually need to be proficient in riding or you're not actually going to be able to ride the horse in the first place. Next up, we are going to talk about caravans and workshops. Now, caravans and workshops are kind of like a default way to earn money. Everyone knows about them. They are one of the only ways to earn passive income. Obviously, owning towns will do that for you as well. But certainly early game, owning a caravan, owning a workshop, they're the only ways to actually earn money from the game, because passively without owning land. Now, as you can see, I currently don't have any workshops, any caravans up and running, and that's because, unfortunately, caravans get attacked. Caravans are basically essentially a Roman NPC that will go around trading for you, which is absolutely great because they've won their own trade experience, and two, that character will naturally level up their scouting skill as well. So it's a good way to kind of put an early companion out there, earn some experience, and then you can bring them in later in a game. That being said, actually having companions with a high trade, with a high scout, is a great way to actually ensure that that caravan is going to last longer. That way they can see looters and avoid them. The problem with caravans is that you do have to look after them. If you don't look after them, they're going to get attacked, and that's going to mean you're going to have to fork out that money again. As you can see, it actually costs 15,000 dinars in order to set up your caravan plus a companion. You can form a better caravan, but that's going to cost you even more money. And to be honest, it's not actually worth it. The reason I say it's not actually worth it is because the only time that a caravan is really weak is against actual armies or, standard people when you are at war. When you're at war, there's a huge issue there, and there's not too much you can do. You can't watch all your caravans at the same time, and unfortunately, they're going to get attacked. There's not too much you can really do about that. But as you can see, that is our caravan right there, and he's running out with 30 troops, which is a significant number, and he's probably going to win against most looters. I would recommend clearing out things like hideouts and stuff like that, just to reduce the amount of looters in the area. Also, if you see parties of 40, 50, 60, there's even 100 looter parties. If you see those kind of parties, then do yourself a favor, clear them out, so that way your caravan can actually start earning some money. One thing I will say as well is that caravans do take time. You can't just instantly make profit from caravans, although apparently we just have. Our hyena's already made 300 profit apparently per day. She-wolf is making 406 dinars profit as well. So caravans are certainly a good way to earn money. Typically speaking, they do take a little bit of time. They do take a few hours, maybe even a week to actually set up to start earning money. So if your caravan isn't instantly making a profit, don't be too afraid of that. Next up, let's talk about workshops. Now, workshops are tougher in console version than on PC. I always found that workshops were the instant way to earn money, the easiest way to earn money, and the bankable way of earning money. However, on console, I found that it does take a little bit more time. As you can see, I currently own a weavery. Now, weavery has an input of raw silk and it outputs velvet. That sounds for pretty good. Generally speaking, we should be earning quite a bit of profit. However, I found that no matter what workshop I earn, in order to make profit or begin making profit, 9 times out of 10, I've got to set them off myself. In other words, I need to give them their inputs. So when I very first brought this weavery, what I done is I went around and brought a load of raw silk and then sold it in the town that actually had my weavery. And that actually kick-started my weavery to begin making velvet and then begin turning a profit. A great thing about owning workshops is that they are not a caravan roaming around. They cannot get attacked by bandits. However, if you happen to be at war, if your town gets sieged, that's when your workshop is not going to be working. That's when your workshop can get destroyed. Early game, I think workshops are great because you can put them pretty much anywhere. You're not at war with anyone. You're a minor tier clan. It's not going to affect you. You're going to earn passive income from it quite easily if you can get it to start turning that profit. Late game, again, you can put it in your own towns and ensure that those towns are protected and that workshop is up and running for good. So late game, early game, workshops are great. I find mid game, they can be a bit tricky because you're at war. You don't have a established kingdom or a safe zone, for instance. Maybe you are even allied with another kingdom and you're about to break away. In that scenario, those workshops, those caravans that you've created are extremely vulnerable and are probably no longer even going to be alive anymore. So you're going to have to reset those things up. Now I switched over to a different playthrough, a different save. And in this playthrough, as you can see, we have 1.8 million dinars. Now this money is all through smithing. It's the only way that I've made money in this game. I've dedicated a lot of time to, building up my smithing ability and ensuring that I can turn out a huge amount of profit. Smithing, in my opinion, is the greatest way to earn money. You can earn the biggest quantities of money the fastest by doing smithing. At the same time, it's also the longest, and it has been nerfed massively since this very first come out because smithing is so easy to earn money from. Now, as you can see, I'm currently level 301, and because of that, I can turn out legendary weapons, which is kind of awesome. In order to get that, I have done the 5 focus points, and of course, I've got 9, but you will need at least 8 points in endurance as well. Just so you guys know, again, I do have a smithing guide out, so if you want to see about, what perks to pick and why to pick them, then that's definitely the video to check out for you guys. Quickly though, I would like to show you and actually demonstrate why smithing is so good. So we are going to pop into smithing right here. And the first thing we're actually going to talk about is orders. Now, if we click on our orders, we can see that we have 6 different orders that we can fulfill. And even, even silly little ones like this throwing dagger, if we make that right now, we are at difficulty 50. The order difficulty is 307. If we make it, they still going to give us money even if we don't meet, the desired outcome. So smithing, regardless of what you do, when it comes to these orders, is going to be worth your time. Also, more importantly to remember, in order to unlock all 6 orders, you're going to have to do something like, I think it's 150 orders, complete 150 orders, and then you'll eventually be able to unlock all of the orders or in every single town. Now, if you have a look at this order right here, order number 5, they would like a 2-handed sword. Now, for one single 2-handed sword, they are going to give me 95,000 dinars, almost 96,000 dinars for a single smithing job. So if we click that right now, they would like a very high quality. If you have a little look at this order difficulty, they want 213. As long as you get over that, they're going to be extremely happy with whatever you chug out. We're going to make a money sword, and I'll show you that sword in a little minute. We're going to make that sword right there, and as you can see, that difficulty is 250. Our smithing is 301, and the order difficulty is down here. So we are definitely making a better sword than they have asked for. So let's make this. Boosh. And as you can see, not only did they give us the 95,000 dinars that they asked for, but they've also given us a little profit as well. They've actually given us more than they said they would. They're very excited by the sword that we have presented them, which is quite cool. A few tips into smithing in general. The higher quality materials that you use and the higher cut damage, or the higher damage weapon you actually produce, will sell for more. So if we actually have a look in our trade, we'll be able to see a few different weapons that we have created. Well, we're going to see a lot of 2-handed swords, but this 2-handed sword is basically the highest quality, but without using extremely rare materials. And this sword, labeled the money, is using the highest materials that I have available to me with the highest cut damage, and that's able to sell for slightly more than the other one. In general, like I said, high quality will sell for more. And in my opinion, 2-handed weapons sell for more than anything else. In fact, 2-handed weapons gets you the most experience to level up as well, in my opinion. 1-handed swords are the easiest to unlock, a ton of parts for, because you're going to be getting a ton of 1-handed swords within battles, and then you can break them down. For instance, the more weapons you break down, the more parts for that type of weapon you will earn. So if I break down a load of 1-handed swords, I'm going to be earning 1-handed sword parts, whereas the way to do it is to do daggers, really, to get the crafting materials, and then that's how you'll get all these crafting parts I've had for these daggers have been because I've broken down a load of daggers. I have made a huge amount of 2-handed swords, and that's why I've unlocked so many parts, or every single part for the 2-handed swords. You earn a lot of money and parts and experience for making the same item or items of higher quality. But as I said at the beginning, smithing does take a huge amount of time, but you are able to make absolute bank, because when you're able to print off swords that are worth 20,000 dinars per hit, you are literally able to go to town and rinse every single thing in every single town and earn absolute bank. Like you said, or like you see, I have 1.9 now million dinars, and I'm able to do what I want with it. However, money is key in this game, so you're going to need a lot of it, no matter which path you guys actually take. I hope this video has been at least a little bit helpful. I'm hoping that you have come out of it knowing a little bit more than you did going in, or you just found it entertaining. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That is the end of this video. If I haven't covered any one subject in, you know, enough detail. I do try and make these videos as quick as possible. There's so much information to get through. Sometimes, you know, information can be lost. So if I haven't gone through something in enough detail for you, let me know down in the comments. I can make a video for it. We can have a chat about it. We do have that Discord as well if you want to join the Discord and have a chat. It is down in a description for you. But that's the end of this video, guys. I've been a monk, we've been Critically Clueless, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy and happy gaming.